Anyway, just a few minutes, and we'll let some people trickle in if they would like. Uh, um, get shareable link. Ah, there's 3 people in here. Howdy, howdy. Anyway, this is the Pondside chat, and I have a special guest today, of course. As always, I have KarmaChickenBaby. Um, if you'd like to give a introduction to yourself and some of your works.
Yes, hello. I'm KarmaChickenBaby. I wrote None in the Chamber, The Fallen Angel. I'm from Poland, and that's pretty much it. I don't have much more to say about myself, really.
None of the stuff that you do when you're not writing, anything like that.
Well, I am working on an snoot game ending for rewrite at the moment. It's called Burnished Gold.
Uh, I haven't started reading that yet, but I do plan to start on that this afternoon. It sounds very nice, and I've read uh, like the summary, like the synopsis you put at the top.
Well, the synopsis is very vague, so you don't get much of an idea what's inside, so to speak.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure it'll be great.
I mean, the first chapter it starts set very much in the canon story of Snoot Game, but then it starts to diverge as soon as the second chapter.
Yes. I mean, a lot of the alternate fics start that way. Um, I'm trying to fix a thing. I'll be alright. But I guess I should start with some questions about your process, how you write. To which the first one I will ask is about your meditative process. How do you get ready to write?
Honestly, I don't have a meditative process per se. I just pick up my phone because I mostly write on my phone. I wrote the most of the Fallen Angel on phone. So I just pick it up, open Google Docs and start writing. But sometimes it just doesn't work. I just sit and stare at the blank page and the words just don't want to come out.
Yeah, I have
But
times like that. Every now and then I try to work on my own thing. And it gets really hard because you end up writing yourself into a corner or something of that sort. Writing yourself to a situation that, yeah, it makes sense while you're writing to there, but you don't know how to write that situation.
unless you plan ahead, planning ahead can help a lot.
Yeah. I mean, most of my writing it comes from just flow of consciousness. Um,
Care to elaborate?
all right, so I have like a general outline for the fic that I've not touched in a while. There's a general outline of what's supposed to happen. In the first chapter, it's like it flashes forward from the first chapter a few years, just because it's easier to get like the basal traits of a young person than it is somebody who's older. Because when you're younger, you don't have a lot of hidden traits, right? When you're young, you're who you are, who you're gonna be, and personality wise, at least, it's just things get toned down or toned up. You have all the basic traits. Um, so I wrote like that, and that was easy. Then I did the flash forward, and I'm like, I know how he would react, but like I don't know how to write this in a way that's gonna be compelling to read. Uh, which I mean, it's one of those weird, jokey scenes that I'm having trouble with.
What scene?
Oh, Do you know about the goof that's sometimes done with plumbers, pizza delivery men, and people pretending to be lamps? Very schlocky.
No,
Oh,
no.
I don't. So he
Is
goes
it a
to
show or a game or what?
all right. It's just like a trope that happens in shows, games, and whatnot. But I guess I'll describe the scene as he, in the daytime, he's like an appliance repairman, and so he goes to a place to fix something for a older lady, and then she starts coming on to him, and that's just I'm having trouble writing that in a way that's a gonna be entertaining and b just gonna be palatable.
I will be honest, that sounds a bit creepy and cringe, to be honest.
Yeah, so I haven't written it really.
Maybe you just can make the lady younger a
Maybe.
bit, or even older.
Yeah, I mean the plan is that nothing ever happens or comes of it. Just the character's freaked out by it.
Make her a really, really old bitch, maybe.
Yeah.
And that will be funny because old people wanting sex is very funny. Haha.
Uh, I feel. I mean, yeah, that is one way I could go with it. I just try to get the depth I can, I guess, from the scene.
You can focus on the ridiculousness of it.
Yeah.
Because when you see an old lady, you don't really think about her as wanting to have sex or something, or like romance with younger people, because older people are usually more conservative and such things. They don't come on, then they don't try to pick up other people. That's how you perceive it, yes?
Uh, yeah, in general. Well, that's the nurse.
And you can exploit it. Just describe the surprise of the character at first, and then try to maybe make it more and more ridiculous. Her attempts, I mean.
So, are you saying that by the end of it, you should be having circus music going on in your head when reading it?
Not to that extent.
Maybe I could.
Just make it a little absurd. Just play into the ridiculousness, like old lady coming on to a young guy.
Yeah. That that might be just fantastic. Honestly, just to that might be the best route is to, as opposed to play it like a bad porno, just play more absurd than that. Not necessarily just
Yeah.
schlocky lines, but something that might be more fun for me to write. Honestly,
And it may be more fun for reader to read.
yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a fic about a boxer, but like you need stuff for him to do as a day job. Nobody can just make a living boxing in the beginning of it.
Uh, True. I never boxed myself, so I don't know.
I mean, that's the same with all combat sports, I suppose. Um, it's hard to get to a point where you can make a living off of it, even if each individual like match pays okay. Uh, you can't be constantly. You don't constantly get matches. You have to have like a cooldown period to heal in between them. If you're actually like a fighting sport.
The financial aspect is very similar when it comes to writing. It's very hard to become a writer who earns a lot of money.
Yes. And with writers to make money, it is quite a bit of luck, I think.
But you can always just use AI to generate a book and then sell it on Amazon. They don't have problems selling books like that.
Yeah, I suppose not. I don't know. Apparently,
It's a big market on Amazon, you'd be surprised.
oh yeah, I know. You can get anything customized on Amazon. I uh, I sent a customized hat to one of my buddies that way. You can get a hat that says just about anything on Amazon if you search up a phrase because they have robots, of course, that just automatically generate the custom things. Yeah, no, it's crazy. Uh, so you can just like look up any old innocuous phrase and then add whatever article of clothing you want, and they'll have something that's very close to it already, or they'll be like, here is a thing that is art that we're gonna customize for you, just because they have image AI or whatever that can build like off of whatever thing if it's just like simple text, and it'll keywords out of whatever phrase to put on as an image.
Interesting.
It's nuts. It's fascinating stuff. Uh,
Sorry for being not being more proactive. I don't really like to voice chat. Just engage in it.
oh, it's just yeah, it's not something that not everybody's used to it. I don't exist a lot in text channels, if I'm being honest. I mostly stay in voice chats to talk to people. It's just what I'm used to. It's harder to get the emotion I want across when I'm just writing something out sometimes.
I'm the opposite.
Yeah. Uh, I guess that might also be why it's hard to get the right emotion with writing for me, like I was saying. But you seem to be very good at getting what you want people to feel across, and that's quite a skill, honestly. You don't. Uh, Wording is hard today.
You wanted to say something?
Um, no, I was just like, I guess I was gonna ask how you go about writing specifically emotion, because so people who I know in here talk about None in the Chamber and how it makes like how you got them to cry genuinely. You made them step back from their screen just to think for a while at the end and at all the sadness.
Well, I will be honest. When I started to write None in the Chamber, I was in a very different place than where I am now. I was very emotionally unstable. Like I had a very hair trigger. Like I would get angry very easily. But that tied into me being a very emotional person. And thanks to that, and thanks to that and the experience I had writing, I could channel that into this story because many things that happened in it were very close to my heart, like thoughts of suicide and depression, and I won't go into details, but always also some drug abuse, like the how I handled the Reed in the story, or how I handled, let's say, Trish, how I handled her family situation, and how Anon helped her change it. It all mostly comes from, well, not most of it. It comes from personal experience to some degree, but mostly it comes to skill and like being able to strongly feel emotions and relay them onto text.
And then since I don't want to go feel like I'm going too fast or too slow for you, and just let me know if the pace is fine for you. But I am jumping around a little bit. You said you're Polish, and you wrote a fic for in English that contains Spanish, which is I'd say two separate language barriers.
I
Uh,
use I used a translation software to handle Spanish. I don't really speak Spanish, I will be honest with you.
I mean, I learned a little bit of Latin, which lets me, I guess, understand the point of what both the French and Spanish say, but not with any sort of elegance. Just in the fact that I know the roots of some words.
I see.
Yeah. So I'm mostly stuck on English and Latin. One's a dead language, and the other's a dying language. You know.
Which one is the dying language?
English slowly, like, the percentage of people who speak English in the world is, as their primary language, I should say, is going down. I consider a language dead when it's nobody's primary language.
It's still used worldwide, so it's not really dead.
Not dead yet.
What do you want? Do you want to start to learn Chinese, maybe?
I mean, I could try. I'd certainly get somewhere. I don't know if it's very far.
I think English isn't going anywhere.
Yeah. The most spoken language in the world will always be wherever is the place of the highest trade, which has been English speaking places for so long, but before it was Spanish, and before that it was Latin, and before that it was Greek.
Spanish, I thought it was French in the Middle Ages.
I might have gotten that confused, which one it is. I just know that, in the 15 to 1600s, Spain and Portugal owned everything.
And then British arrived.
Yeah. With their almighty pound. Anyway, so it appears Sierra's come in here.
Yep, tech issues settled. I can now ask questions. Let's dip into the questions here.
When you were making your
I
AO3,
guess
when you were making your AO3 profile, what made you choose Karma Chicken?
One of the mods in Snoot Club changed my username there. I had it set as KarmaCat at first, then one of the mods changed it to KarmaChickenBaby, and I liked it so much that I've been using it ever since.
Nice. So it was a quick goof that stuck.
Yes.
I can appreciate that.
And chickens are funny.
They are. Chickens are funny animals, but roosters are mess you up, man. Like roosters have spurs for kicking things. I don't know if you know that or not. And those things are sharp.
I know my grandmother keeps chickens. She lives in the countryside.
That's a very worthwhile thing to do. I need to build a coop in my backyard. At some point. Oh, do you have a... do you want me to throw that image up?
Yes.
Let me do the thing. Chicken. I'm a big fan of just putting animals of any sort on skateboards. By the way, it's a great pastime. I think. You ever see those the videos of those dogs actually skateboarding?
I've seen videos of cats riding on skateboards.
You know, that's the one human vehicle that we can teach any animal to use. I think. Any terrestrial animal, at least. Land.
If you teach a goose how to ride a skateboard, you will teach a flying animal how to ride it.
You know, I could probably hold on. Somebody's done it. If I were to drag a video into the streaming software, it would just play the video to everybody but me. I learned this a few months back. I suppose we should continue in the line of questioning, but
Yes,
yes,
it would be good.
It would probably behoove us to keep up with that. Is there anything you wanted to change in None of the Chamber? As you were writing,
You mean as I was riding it, or after I was done?
well, after you're done, is there anything that you would want to go back and change?
Yes.
Can you?
The biggest thing would be definitely Anun's father. I went the easiest route with him. Like, I showed him as raging racist and so on, the usual portrayal of him when it comes to fandom depicting this guy. I want to make him maybe not more present in the story, but I want him to appear at points, just checking in on Anon if he's doing alright, which you may think, well, Anon's father doesn't really care about him, so why would he do that? But I want to make him a distant but caring parental figure. Like a cold bastard, but he cares.
Yeah, I mean, if he didn't care, he wouldn't have gotten him out of rock bottom. Is what I've always thought. He just isn't a good father. Being good at being a good parent and being a caring parent are not really connected. You can care and not be a good parent, and you can be a good parent and not care.
I mean, if you are a good parent, then then caring comes with that, so to speak.
But you can be a caring parent and not be good at it. Is the point I'm trying to say here.
Like being an enabler, care too much and let your kid do too much stuff that's bad for the kid.
Yeah, being an enabler will make a very unrounded person when they're out of the house. I've seen that happen all too often in real life. You know, when parents say that, oh, my child can't possibly do any wrong, when very clearly everybody is capable of wrong. I choose we are born at least decent.
So going back to your question, I would also like to rework the ending because I feel it was rushed and many people think it was rushed. I would also like to trim some of the fat, remove some of the slice of life stuff and maybe add something of substance in its place.
Oh, where it's like, yeah, no, we're just checking out and seeing how these people are doing the thing. Give them a reason to stop at that point in time to say what's going on besides, yeah, we're cooking dinner. There were no like lines like that. I know. I was just making an example. I get you were saying though. You want something. You want every line that's there to mean something beyond just that's a thing that happens. But I would be careful about like removing all slice of life aspects because those are needed for levity between heavier beats, I think.
Yes, but at places I feel like there is just too much of it.
Where
And
where it starts
sometimes,
to meander near the end.
yes, exactly. I want to like streamline it to so the story flows better. But not now, not now. I want to focus on the ending for rewrite, and then I will be doing a sequel based on it. A sequel fic like the next generation with Amber and others.
Do you know which others, or just?
I will be honest with you. I made my own fan kit just so I don't have to put green in my fics because I fucking hate green, and I hate Melissa, the Naomi child, the girl, you know, the one, the one that. Do you know who Spoopy is?
Schmoopy?
Spoopy,
I do
Spoopy
not.
girl.
I do not.
Do you know the fic named? And I'm serious, gay penises.
I do not.
So it's a fic where Amber is a lesbian and she's in a relationship with Naomi's daughter, but that's not important. Uh, well, it is important because that fic made me absolutely despise that Naomi daughter character. So I am removing that fan kid and other fan kids related to Naomi out of the fic entirely.
I mean, if it's a sequel to None in the Chamber.
No, it's not.
Oh,
It's an
oh.
E4. E4, not E1.
My bad.
The sequel to None in the Chamber will be I Wanna Hack That Gator. It will be based on that game. But the storyline of that of Wani will be Route 4, not Route 1. Though I still haven't played it in full. I just played the demo.
I'd recommend going through it. Good game. I guess that kind of answers another question that you haven't gotten to Wani yet, so I'm sure you prefer Snoot Game as it sits.
I'll be honest, it's kinda boring, nothing really happens in it. But that may be because I played through the demo a couple times, and when I start a new playthrough, I have to play through the same parts again, so my motivation to keep going just dies.
Wanders off. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Maybe I should ask someone for a save game, so I can skip that.
Yeah, I mean, I could probably hand you the save for mine. If you really wanted it, I could probably get you that data. Make a copy and send it over. Whenever you like.
Please, please do.
I'll do that after this, then.
Wait a second, I need to BRB.
Alright. So Sierra, how's it hanging this morning?
That's alright new.
No, I'm doing fine. Why am I coming through quiet? Starman, thanks
I was
for pointing
about
that out.
Yeah, I was about to say you were coming for quiet and only for one ear.
I don't know why. Is this better?
Let me turn up.
I don't know, man. I don't know what's happening. Is that a little bit better? That's my bad. I'm still trying to figure out the new stuff. If I mess with that dial too much, I'm gonna be too loud. Am I fine? Is that better? A little bit?
Hold on.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's only for the stream because you're coming through both ears perfectly fine on Discord, but not on OBS.
Alright, go back, you say. There? something must be screwed up in the settings here, so I'll just...
Why are you so loud?
Apparently there's something, I'm finicking with a thing. It's just like a brand new like audio interface thing, so I'm trying to fix it. I don't know. Apparently, it's coming in through only one ear too. I'm not sure. That should be a little better.
Yeah, it's a more manageable state now. It's still predominantly come through only the left ear, but it's not as quiet now.
Yeah. Let me check my properties. It might just be. Oh, hold on. Microphone. No, that's right. All right, cool. I think we fixed it for the most part. Anyway, Sierra, do you want to take over some questions?
Yes. Let's see. Now, I've joined in a little bit late, so I don't know what questions you have already been asked. But
mostly been gab.
Okay. Did you want to do more with Schizo and Nun Chamber, or what you have was enough?
What I did was enough. She served her purpose in the story and that's it. I will be making a bonus chapter focusing on her, but that will come later. Writing an extra short story about her on the day of the shooting in the school, and this will give me an opportunity to show a unique perspective.
Yeah, that would. Because that's an event that's not really touched as it stands when it happened. It's always the after.
Yes, I want to capture the chaos, the fear, the disorientation.
Yeah.
I like what you did to that character with Schizo, where she is. What the hell is still wrong? I don't understand. Is that a little better? Maybe. I like what you did with the character, where like we saw her slowly getting better, but still never quite all being there. Is how I interpreted it.
You can never really get fully well after something like that.
You can only get stabilized, I suppose, is how it is written.
Not as much stabilized as don't let it control you, so to speak. The fear and the memories.
Are we ready to move on to another question? I guess, this one is kind of controversial, I don't know why. What inspires your Reed Roja's ship?
Sorry, can you repeat?
What inspired your Reed Roja's ship?
It just kind of happened, and I liked it, so it stayed.
Right.
Some people joked that I killed Nasser, so I can put Rosa and Reed together. that I chose this ending because NASA is dead and Rosa has no one to cling to, so she has to choose Reed. But in the beginning, people thought that I am setting up an Anon Rosa ship, but no, it wasn't. It was never my intention.
Yeah. In the story, Rosa is always a rock to help keep Anon stable. Non-romantic interest. More like an older sister.
Yes.
That, and I find it funny people have an issue with the ship when you can look at the ending CG of Snook game. That happens. You can tell they're together by then.
Yeah. There. I think I might have fixed the sound.
You are very quiet now.
Why? I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry about this. Maybe. That's too loud in Discord.
There. Just keep it like that.
All right. As long as I'm not too loud for you.
Yeah.
Oh, Starman, that's a great choice, actually. All right, now there's visual cues, so show why I sound like I'm far away. Hopefully that at least adds humor to the situation. What was the first ending you experienced for Snoot Game?
The fourth one.
You got E4 right away?
Yes.
That's very nice. Is that one your favorite, or is it something? Or is it one of the others?
That's my favorite.
It is nice when everything works out.
Yes, but it's too perfect. It feels like cope for E3 at times.
I mean, that was the purpose of it, I think.
Yeah. Because originally E3 was supposed to be the best ending, but team found that was not the best idea, so they quickly threw together E4. So it feels too sunshine and
It seems a little
rainbows.
half-baked.
Yeah.
That they should have spent more time in the kitchen with it.
At least we got the bonus chapters to add to some context.
Yeah. A little
Yeah.
bit of context to it. Mm-hmm. Now, are there any characters that you just, any other characters that you decided that you just want to change from where they are in E1?
Not really.
None that you didn't want to give any of them like a separate starting point than what they ended up having coming out of E1?
I tend to stick to canon for the most part. I change things if I think they will serve the story the best, like changing where Reed lives and so on, and such things. Like making Reed a rich kid with loving parents would explain why he is so chill with everyone and why he wants everyone to get along. Unlike Trish, who comes from a broken house, and that creates a lot of anger issues, and since her mother cheated on her father with a human, that's where her hatred for Anon in the beginning comes from.
I did, that was a plot point I think was discussed pretty heavily with the book club in here, was Trish's relationship to her father. Sierra here runs a book club in this server.
Yes, but this was before I took over book club, so people with the best knowledge of that time would be Jack or MP, but neither are here right now.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that was
Like
one of the
Oates
first
said,
books.
like Oates said, I run a book club on here. It was started by two of our members and friends on here, MP and Jack Pass. They started with Nun Chamber, then they moved on to Trojan when I hopped on, then I've been running it since.
I see.
Yeah, congratulations, you caused book club to start.
Yep.
Give me money for it.
I can listen. I can give you this laurel wreath. I can't really do much more than that. Um. Yeah, no, the book club happens twice a week, I think.
Every weekend.
Uh, I don't always participate in book club. I always listen. It's always interesting to hear what they're talking about. I just remember I was at school for my vocational training, and like it was the night after, and I come in and they're talking very passionately about none. Like if I were to go and I scroll up enough, I could see points that were being made in the text channel by MP. Yeah, it was something.
And what did people say?
That they really enjoyed it is, I guess, the simpler way to phrase it. But they were digging into every little piece that you put in, being like, "This is why this works so well with that." Uh, Jack could probably send a synopsis of what he was thinking into the chat here. Looks like he's doing that now. He's asking if he can join.
Join what?
Join into the call. If you say yes or no, he can hear because he's on the stream.
Sure, why not?
All right, give him a minute. He'll come in. What is your favorite character that you wrote before he comes in?
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Nice to finally get to see you, Karma. I'm Jack Pass. I'm one of the people that's also in book club as well, and one of the people that's finished None in the Chamber.
Nice to meet you.
As well. I got to say, that was an emotional trip for me. There are times when I had to sit down and be like, "Oh, yeah, no, that's what self-doubt looks like, and that's how it hits you in that particular way." So I thank you for that because it was very insightful.
You're welcome.
Now I do have a. Do you mind if I ask a couple of questions?
Not at all.
Alrighty. When it comes to self-doubt and when it comes to being so stuck in that self-doubt, do you have people that care for you and obviously that like want to make sure you're okay, but when it gets to the point where they just say, "Oh, he's having an episode," and it's better to just leave him alone to solve that out for himself. Um, with that, like when would it be like enough to where the person who sees this person having self doubt be like, "Oh, I need to leave him alone. He's having an episode."
Are you referring to some specific part here of the story, or just
Just
overall?
as it was going on, like when Rosa was seeing that Anon's having a hard time, so he's like, "Okay, I need to give him some space."
Sometimes you can just see that the person needs space.
Yeah.
So I imagine Rosa has a kind of an instinct for noticing such things. That's how she can see that he needs some space, that he needs to be left alone to mull over everything, think over everything, just figure things out on his own without her, so to speak, pushing in, butting in, interrupting his train of thought.
Yeah. No, that's good because it was a lot of Anon being stuck in that spiral, and then as he kept getting worse, he got some help. He got people helping him out, making sure he didn't go out of control. But I just thought it was a very, really unique way of looking at it, and having everything laid out in front of him. You got to make a decision at some point, so that go from there.
I read my manual for my thing.
What thing?
Oh, the interface.
Took you
Nice.
long enough.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it took me a second. My bad. I apologize. It's a little unprofessional on my end, but
A little.
yes. Well, more than a little. This is, it's not like this is my main work that I do. But yeah, it's just something I gotta learn on. I'm fairly unaccustomed to this piece of equipment that I have here, so I just have to get used to it.
True.
Set it right and stop touching it,
Fiddling around with it. Yeah, I get you. Another thing I thought was really cool is how you did that one scene in the ward where you got to get more professional help. When it came to writing that part, did you need what kind of did you have to go to anyone and kind of ask for information on how to handle mental wards and things like that?
I approximated a lot. Like I imagined how things would work in a hospital, yes.
Yes.
And I just added a bit of psychiatrical flair to it, but I had a person who's educated in this area, and they helped me somewhat.
It was very nice.
One of the snoot bros has a degree in was it psychology or psychiatry? I am not sure, but they helped me with that part.
Yeah. Because I gotta say, that was a very awesome part to read where it's just like, okay, let's break things down even further and try to rebuild from this point on into not self-destruction, but more of a normal person that's just kind of coping with life.
Yes.
What some of the Snoop Bros have backgrounds in.
Oh yes,
Like,
that is.
You've got people in defense. You've got people, of course, medical doctors.
One of the snoot bros is a U.S. Marshal.
Yeah. One of them in here is a airplane mechanic, I think, or an aerospace engineer, I should say. That's the title, aerospace engineer.
Surely, Snoot brings everyone together.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose it does deal with the fact that 4chan has those people in the audience of it, so it comes up that people from the parent source go into the derivative, or not derivative, but the product. Those people from the source will go to the product and hang out there for a while.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's pretty crazy. I met a lot of people around here, and I gotta say, everyone's got their different background, but it's always fun at the end of the day to kind of come back together and be like, so how was work? And it's like, oh, pretty crazy. I'm like, oh, I see why.
Yes, and about these guys for women.
Exactly, about these dinosaur women. So, I gotta say, as I was getting through most of the reading, I found Trish's kind of interactions to be very interesting. Like, she is essentially, rightfully so, being pointed at and saying, man, you did a lot of damage. You did a lot of damage. But the way you kind
That's a
of.
lot of damage.
That's an incredible lot of damage you did, Trish. And, Reed had to point that out. A lot of people pointed that out to her, and she's like, I fucked up real bad. Could we try and, again, essentially. And Reed's like, I don't know. Can we? Basically, what I'm trying to say is, when it came to Trish and how you wanted to kind of like write her into the story and what her role was, like what were you thinking at first versus what came out in the chamber?
Well, at first I wanted her to be a more villainous character, not like cartoonishly evil, but less of a redeemable person, like she turned out in the end. I wanted to have her be even more antagonistic towards Anan, even throughout the story. The scene at the hospital where she reads the letter Frank sends to Anon from prison, it wasn't in the plans at first, but well, it just happened, so I rolled with it. That's how I write. My best bits, sometimes they just happen.
Yeah,
There is no secret recipe, so to speak.
Yeah, I saw when that hurricane happened and almost took Trish with it. I was very surprised by that. I was like, oh wow, this is a good way to basically have Anon reintroduce himself and be like, oh, let's get in the car. Let's get out of this horrible weather. And that kind of kindness kind of opened the door to some other path. And that's something I was amazed to read about. I was like, wow, that's actually a good way of doing that. That's really a good way of getting through the door there.
Yeah, she really wanted to reinstate her friendship with Reed, and Anon could be a kind of a link, a bridge between them, because he was a kind of a friend with her, because they were going to therapy together, and he heard her, let's call it confession, earlier, and Reed was good friends with him. So I figured out that if I put them in a situation where they would have a time to talk and she would be in low spirits, and just ask Reed to talk to her again, and wait a minute, I must think how to put that.
They could rekindle their relationship, maybe, if they were.
Yes, like have Anan just kind of convince Reed to meet with Trish, and they would talk over some things and try again with their friendship. But since Reed was so aggressively against Trish, she didn't dare to go to him herself.
Exactly. And even though Trish wanted this, she did get some pushback for it. She was told a lot of times, like, hey, that's not something you deserve. It's something you gotta earn, because you've lost that trust.
It's harder to build a bridge the second time, after all.
Exactly.
That's how life works.
Very much does.
You don't get to just keep breaking the same thing and expecting it to be put back the same way it was.
Yes.
You'll see people try that. Hell, even our little microcosm, you'll see people try that. They'll do whatever, spit in your face, and they'll be like, "Hey, can you forgive me?" And it's just like, no.
I know a person like that. Very well.
Yeah. Um,
But
at
yeah,
some point, the people run out of chances.
yeah, exactly. It's just not worth it at some point. But it is very interesting to see like the process of how they choose to ask the question, say, "Hey, can we start over again?" I still do love seeing that. Oh,
Well,
but
I like how you wrote it. It's not just like they paved over it immediately and went back. Because I know that other writers would just be like, yeah, sure, let's just have them go back to how it was a few months ago, as opposed to having her have to work for it.
It's easier.
It is
It
easier.
doesn't require as much work, and you have to put more thought into it. Because at the end of the day, it's just fan fiction. It's not a serious story that you would get paid. So there is less incentive to put more effort into it. That's why most fan fictions are just shit.
love it.
It's just the machinations of teenage mind for the majority of fan fictions I've seen, and I've seen some doozies. I'll say.
I will be honest with you guys. I wrote an My Little Pony fan fiction when I was in high school.
You're not alone in this server.
Yeah, something that I've noticed is
There's quite a
the
few people
suit
who
line
just
community has attracted a lot of the scatter brony community alongside the majority of the scaly community. So you're not a minority in that.
Yes, but I am ashamed of that period of my life because it's. Let's just say that stories I wrote back then were pretty cringe. Very cringe,
I
in
mean,
fact.
that's how it starts always.
Yeah, I kind of look at it as a pipeline where you're going to have a lot of maybe sewage come out of it, but every once in a while you'll find a diamond in the rough and be like, I actually want to engage with this idea, but just a little bit differently.
Well, a diamond covered in shit, it's still a diamond.
Yeah,
Exactly.
sometimes you just got to go through the thought process and see what comes out.
Yeah. Uh, Eventually, like the coal will be made into a diamond by the pressure around it. So
Yeah,
if what you're getting is smog right now, there might be a diamond forming in the center.
yeah,
But you know, Snoot Game is more. Uh, how to put it? It's more fit for more serious stories, while My Little Pony really isn't. It's just a show for little girls. How are you going to make it serious without making it either cringe or grimdark or both?
You know, I've not read any My Little Pony fan fiction personally. I've just not.
I recommend you to read Fallout Equestria. It's very good,
You're not the first
very
person
good.
who's told me that.
Actually, it's garbage. Don't read it.
You're not the first person who said, "Yeah, you need to suffer this." The other person made me read Garfield Effect. If
The
you know
what?
that is.
What?
Mass
Oh,
Effect.
no.
Commander Shepard is replaced with Garfield.
That sounds awesome.
The worst
It sounds
thing I've
amazing.
ever read, and it still stands over my head because it's not finished. If he wanted to ruin my life, he could just come back to writing that Hemingway Shakespeare character. That
But
fic is just psychic damage, by the way.
yeah, it is. I tried to get into like first 20 minutes of it and I had to tap out. I was like, I can't follow along.
It contains nothing that makes a good story. The best written segment of it, they were talking about a product called a gyro bowl, which is a bowl for toddlers so they don't spill.
Uh, anyways, back to the Dino games. So I do got a question about the farm and kind of how it's structured. Was the farm and the Kazala's place of residence, is it like essentially a device to like kind of have Anon work there to get his mind off all the horrible stuff he's experienced, or is it more of a place to kind of like bond with other people so that you have other social connections that aren't just the bad ones you had in the past? He had in the past life.
It's both, kind of.
Okay.
Like most of the time he just works there, but he also bonds with the family and so on. They adopt him, so it's a place where he can just leave the worries behind, so to speak, and just kind of empty his mind and relax. Are you home? Since he never had one.
Yeah, that was interesting to see because as I was going through reading about it, I was like, oh wow, this place is doing a lot of good for him, but in a lot different ways that isn't just taking his mind off a lot of horrible stuff. And then you got the family there that even though they're gonna tell you, hey, go shovel shit, or hey, go water this tree, at the end of the day, they're gonna feed you and treat you right. They're gonna try and build you back up, so to speak. And
Yes,
I
it's important to have people care for you, especially in the situation he was in. If he was just left to himself, he'd probably just stuff himself with pills and die.
Exactly. Either realizing he's trying to push the pain away with pills, but eventually ODs or something like that, because, sadly, it just wasn't enough. But, yeah, no, I just thought the way you did that was very beautiful, especially with the father being a very quiet and stoic type, but also stepping in to be like, hey, this is bad. Let's do something about that rather than just like worry about this all day long.
Thanks.
Yeah. Also, Rosa has got a car apparently, and she does drag racing. Is that what was going on there?
Street racing.
Street racing. Thank you.
It was actually I had an idea for the ending, where Ripley wouldn't call the ambulance because Rosa would be there, and I had an idea to have her, Frank, and Anon drive in Rosa's car to the hospital, and she would be fucking speeding like a demon, speed demon.
Yeah, she'd be doing drifts and all the sorts of crazy stuff, like a Need for Speed game.
Yeah.
Fast and Furious.
Fast and Furious. That's right. But honestly, that would have been amazing to see or
Would
read.
you consider yourself a member of the car community where you are? Or a car enthusiast, I should say.
Who?
You. Would you consider
No.
yourself a car enthusiast? No?
No, not at all.
You did a pretty good job describing them then.
I had help,
Just a tad.
and I kind of like cars, but I am not a gearhead.
Yeah. I like the cars I have. I know every little thing about what I own, and not a lot of broad knowledge on the subject of automobiles, but I do have a lead foot, which means that I like to go fast in my little cars.
Don't go too fast.
Oh, I'm wanting to get investors together in the state I live in to build a new speedway because they keep closing them, and then now there's street racers everywhere who are making the road dangerous for regular drivers. And I like a good race, but I don't like endangering random people.
I see.
Yeah. Even a dirt track would be something, you know?
Yeah, I get you. I'm kind of on Karma's side with this. I like cars that are practical. If I'm in a town, I like a small car that I can fit into small parking spaces. If I'm in on the road, though, I'd like something a little bigger that can handle potholes.
Yeah. No, I have something that's just firmly medium size that has a decent amount of horsepower that can get out its own way. somewhere between, you know. So I'm in a Japanese crossover, you know.
Yeah.
Small enough to, you know, whip anywhere, big enough to be comfortable while I'm taking a long road trip.
Exactly. Now, I gotta ask though, another question for you, Karma. So when it came to the kind of the whole case on Fang and what she did, what was your original idea for how to handle that?
You mean the trial or the outcome of the trial?
The trial itself.
Originally, I wanted to put Fang in prison, like have her end up in prison. Have you read the one shot?
Yeah, I saw the one shot where she did.
So, yes, so it would go like it did in the one shot originally. But as time went on and people kept bugging me, no, don't put her in prison, don't put her in prison. She might as well be dead if you put her in prison for 15 years. So I caved in and just swapped it for 6 years in a mental asylum. But originally it was meant to be 15 years in prison, and she would come out and she would be a bad prison bitch and so on. And I wanted to illustrate that, just have Anon be a rugged war veteran and Fang be a bad prison bitch. And also I wanted to have Amber be a teenager and face bullying in school because of what her mother did. And she and Amber would be very cold towards her mother because she would know what Fang did, and every time Fang would get mad while Anon was visiting, she would say, there, Uncle Anon, hide the gun, Mom is getting angry. Something
Okay,
like that.
that's actually really on point, and yeah, no, that's smart to do. But I like that idea of like, yeah, this is the realistic outcome of this. Yeah, like, hey, we know what you did in the past, and even if you get angry about that and you want to push back against that, you killed people, so we can't really go from there. Exactly. There's no do-overs at that point.
Yes, but I also planned the ending, the scene at the graveyard, to be even more emotional than it was in how it turned out in the original idea. Like have them all cry and so on.
Yeah. I mean, I do see it that way as well, and I also
Like have Amber see that Fang is breaking down before Nasser's grave, and she like comes over to her and hugs her and starts crying, and Anon sees it. He starts crying too, and don't have that scene where Fang is they are driving back home. Just cut here and then put an epilogue, or just without epilogue even.
oh, nice. No, that's pretty clean. Yeah, I do like that.
I also wanted to, at some point, I also wanted to do a rewrite where Nasser survives. Remember, Anon was shot in the knee by Fang, so in this version of events, it would be Nasser who got shot in the knee. And then imagine, his experiences would make him a bitter asshole. He would become a doctor, and because of his injuries, he would have to use a cane. Do you see
Oh.
where I'm getting at?
Yeah, I have seen what you're getting at. That's actually pretty cool, and I like it.
Yeah, Dr. Nasser.
Yeah, Dr. Nasser, Dr. House. Man, that would be something indeed. If you swapped it around like that, I'd read that in a second. I'd be like, ooh, let's see what that looks like.
Maybe I will try it, not like this rewrite. I started working on it when I was working on Fallen Angel, but I dropped it because it was too much work at the time.
Yeah, that can drag you down for a while, or it burns a lot of time.
Yeah.
Having too much on your burns your desire to do anything. I know that from experience at least.
You are really quiet and cutting in and out, Oats.
Yeah, you're a bit
Oh.
choppy.
No, I stood up. Sorry. Yeah, no. If you're doing too much at once, can burn your desire to do anything. So I don't understand why you'd taken a break from it.
Totally get you. It's not like Rome was built in a day.
Yeah, you gotta take your time.
But no, thank you for that. I do like to kind of see the idea of like, what if you took your setting and just kind of swapped this one detail around? How would it all change in the end, or how would it be different?
Yes, I had this idea that NASA would, for a time, NASA wouldn't know that Naomi is dead and that she died. He would think that she's alive. Like Frank thought that NASA is alive. He was just injured. Yes.
Yes.
And he would later find out that some of his friends were killed and his girlfriend was killed. And when Anon tries to like talk to him, he like snaps at him like he becomes a recluse. He becomes very bitter. Like, I was trying to be a nice person. I was trying to so hard to be nice, to be helpful, and this is what happens to me. And imagine
Yes.
how the trial would go. Like, instead of Milhouse hearing Frank apologize, it would be Nasser apologizing about killing his girlfriend, Naomi. Imagine his reaction to that.
Oh my gosh. Part of me thinks he would shut down, but also part of me thinks he would, like, all the stuff he's had to deal with, like just the burdens, he just lets it out in the courtroom. Just lets it all for everyone to see.
Yes, that was the idea, that he would say, "Oh, you're sorry, yes? You killed my girlfriend. You made me a fucking cripple. You broke our family. You killed my friends. You destroyed my life. And you think that saying that you are sorry is enough?
Exactly.
You sicken me." Something like that.
Yeah, exactly along those lines. I still do like what we have with Basil and the others, where it was essentially the others are like, "Wow, we really hate what you did here," and we don't have enough hate in us to be like, we want you dead per se to Fang, but we do want nothing to do with you. We want to shun you.
I will
Yes.
say I appreciate that you gave Basil a job as an antiquarian, which is something that I don't know. That's a job title that doesn't show up very often anymore. Just a weird little off tangent. Was there
Thanks.
anything that led you to make that decision for him?
It just happened. Like, I had to come up with a occupation for him. I thought that a connection. How could I tie his occupation to the story at the time? And Anon was trying to find Basil to confront him. Yes. And Reed's mom is an artist, and artists work with antiquarians. So that's how I made that connection and just gave this job to Basil.
Was there also like an aspect of, oh, I want him to find me, that came with that?
Can you elaborate?
Oh, like Basil saying that I want to leave a trail of breadcrumbs that you have to follow to get to me.
No, not really. Yeah, after all, Anon had to go to his sister, Rosemary, and ask her about where he works and such details. Basil didn't go out of his way to provide this to him.
Yeah, basically after Anon found Rosemary's contact information, he went over to just ask the question to her. Be like, hey, having a problem with this. How do we? Do you know anything more about this? And Rosemary was like, yeah, here's what I know about it, but it's tough to talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff going
Uh,
on.
yeah. I admit, Karma, I liked Zakar a lot. I think he is a sad man, but also a very, like, comforting person to come into the room and be like, is there a problem? Do you need me? And Rose,
I kind of based him on Nico Bellic from the GTA 4.
yeah, I kind of saw that when I was reading the there. It's like Nico Bellic is, but yeah, no, I saw that and I was just like, okay, that's kind of funny that Anon thinks if I upset Rosemary in any way, Zakar is going to pick me up and throw me through a window. I need to be very careful with what I say.
I may not survive this encounter. Just
Yeah, no, I thought that was Zakar is a pretty well established person, even though he doesn't get much screen time except in the epilogue, which I read a bit of. I do like him. I think that's a good a good character to put in there to be like, this is what he does.
this is what's happening.
Actually, this character, it came from a bonus chapter someone wrote before I even got to that part of the story. Like the early version of this character. It's the first bonus chapter for the None in the Chamber.
Okay, I managed to
Oh.
read a little bit of it.
Sankar is Eldon's brainchild.
Yes. I rounded him out a bit. The first draft of that chapter was pretty different. It wasn't as good, but we managed to work it out.
You had a decent starting point on it then. You had a decent starting point for it then.
Yes. Like this military guy who was in very dangerous situations, and he knows how to control himself, and he knows how it feels to and then having your life in danger, so he understands her better than most people would.
Yeah, kind of like how Nico Bellic had to serve in some war before coming to America, and he wanted to get out of there quick because the stuff he did in that war was not good. Pretty bad stuff all around.
Would not be looked upon fondly by the people of the country.
Exactly. It's kind of like I could see Zakar being like, I just want a more peaceful life that isn't war.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm just glad to see that even after the tragedy that happened, Rosemary, even though she doesn't get a perfect ending, but you know, she gets one where it's like, no, you get to move on with your life. Same with Millhouse, same with Stacy. Yeah. They just kind of realize, you know what? That did happen. We acknowledge it, but
Well, that just happened.
Yeah, well,
Yes.
just happened.
The Marvel writing, right?
But sometimes that's life. It's like, well, that just happened. Anyways, let's move on.
It's just there's only one direction you can go. It's forward.
Yeah.
You can stop and look around, but that's about the only control you have in life.
Exactly. Some people are more fast to move on with their lives than others. So there is also that comparison that I see with some characters, and I like it. I think that's a cool detail to have.
I think it allowed for a lot more fun.
Yeah.
Someone asked me to write a sequel to Fallen Angel, not the Wani sequel, but an actual sequel where the children find out what their parents did, their past. But I don't really feel like it. I don't really feel like writing a...
A disservice to the existing work, maybe.
It would be just beating a dead horse, so to speak.
Yeah.
Like milking it.
Oh, I see. Kind of like hyper focusing on the event and then going so far as to say this is now their entire lives, when that's not true. As time moves forward, there's more to their life than just this one tragedy.
There's more life ahead of them to live.
Yeah.
No. What I meant was that it would be pointless to write this story because, well, the story ended. There is no point in writing further. If someone wants to make a sequel where the children of, let's say, Rosa and Samantha and Trent find out what happened in the past and they have to deal with this generational trauma, then they're free to do so. But I am not going to do that because I am done with this particular story. I don't want to continue it.
Ah,
I just want to like fill the gap between that 3-year gap between Amber's birth and Samantha meeting Amber for the first time with the 1E spin-off.
Yeah.
And that will be it. I will not be writing anything more. Maybe some bonus chapters, but that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To try to do a sequel is a disservice to what is already a complete story. It's
Yeah,
you
which
get the Disney straight to video thing, you know.
Maybe
Like,
if
first theatrical
thinking
release.
about it, it would be your own interpretation of why E4 too, because Anakin lives. He doesn't die.
yes, I have an idea for it. You know how Mia is in one, like this one-dimensional bully her character. Yeah. So I thought that it may be bad parenting. So I am thinking of putting Samantha as a motherly figure for her to help her figure out things and not turn out as bad as she did in the original story.
Okay.
She does remain.
that honestly,
Sounds
I'll
like a
probably
decent
add.
amount of fun.
That does remind me.
Like she sees Fang in her, like she's similarly angry and violent, and she's kind of a bully, you know. So she thinks, no, I can't let that happen again, and she like tries to help her.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty good spirited. Hey, I don't want you to end up just super horrible in the end, so I'm gonna try and steer you away from that. That does lead into another question I got about Samantha and the whole like idea with Fang and Samantha. What was your original idea for how you wanted that to go?
I wanted Samantha to be much more passive originally, because you saw in the one shot she didn't divorce Ripley. That was
Yeah.
because there was no leak at the police station. What happened in the interrogation room was never made public, so she doesn't know what he did. And Anon is too scared of Ripley to tell her, so she's very passive, very passive.
Oh.
She's like broken by the events.
Yeah, she wouldn't really be able to comprehend even if Anon said anything, but Anon's too broken up to really want to experience that again, which that is completely understandable seeing as how he reacts when he thinks about it.
Yes.
I do gotta say, I like your description of when Anon is having a panic attack and how you're basically describing, like, all right, what's the temperature of what's it happening to his face? Well, it's hot and it's cold. It's hot and it's cold. And then either some adrenaline pumps into him and he basically just has a panic attack on the spot and he kind of zones everything out around him. I do like your descriptions of that. That's a very nice way of doing that.
Thanks.
Yeah. But yeah, when I got to None in the Chamber and when I got to how do I say this? And on being in the hospital again, and kind of Lucy and Samantha talking to each other. That and kind of what they decided in that room. Was there any other ideas besides what came out of None in the Chamber? Is there any other ways you wanted to do that?
Like the conversation between them?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Like Samantha, she hates her.
Yeah.
She hates her for what she did, but she holds on to the memory of her daughter. For her, Fang is a different person, as you could see in the text that Fang killed Lucy.
Yes,
So
exactly.
Lucy is dead. She died. And Fang is alive, and Samantha sees Lucy as Fang. You know what I'm getting at.
I am, yes.
Yeah.
She sees this person that she knew, and all of her life she knew him up until a certain point, and then this new person that Samantha doesn't really understand or connect with in any way, essentially killed her daughter, and she just sees it as like, well, you're a different person now. I don't really want to talk with you. I'll be in the same room with you if I have to be, but that's about it.
Yes, that's the idea.
Yep. No, it's beautiful. I love it. Just kind of like, I'll acknowledge you, but that's about it. I won't really go any further than that.
That's how a person like Samantha would react to someone like Fang who did what Fang did.
Yeah. Because it's literally, Samantha really loves her family, loves Nasser, loves Ripley, and loves Lucy. But when that got taken away, she basically said, man, this just isn't working out, and Jesus Christ, this is all terrible. I want to kind of deal with this in a healthy way, but also move on from all of this horrible stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. I gotta say though, I didn't expect Trent. That was cool, and I thought that was an interesting way of doing that. Where it's like, well, how would a person move on from this? And it's like, start a new family.
Try again.
Not
Yeah.
having him die helped also.
Yeah, that also helped greatly. So thank you for that. Thank you for not having him die prematurely right after getting the family going. That was good.
Yeah, I had to solve this. Like, if he doesn't get cancer, someone has. So I gave it to his wife.
Yeah. Which, it's sad, it's terrible, but also Trent, you can see, he also now has a moment of a character in him that isn't just there to fill a gap. He's also there to explain to Anon, yeah, I loved somebody too, and this happened, and I'm still broken up about it, but Samantha's in my life, and she's been wonderful.
I also did it so he has kind of he can relate to her, that she lost someone close to her and he lost someone close to him. So they can kind of bond over the trauma, kind of.
Yeah. They're not like perfect in any way. Like they don't perfectly mesh together and like cover for each other, but they're able to relate to each other and at least open up about, hey, this was hard for me. How did you like cope with this? And they'd probably talk about it in this way and they'd build from there.
Yes.
Yeah. That also reminds me, I like the fact that you have a saber tooth just chilling in the house.
Yeah, we don't see a lot of the.
Oh yeah, that was another thing I was.
With the dinosaurs.
Yeah,
We don't get a whole
that
lot
was
of
another thing I was gonna say. Shit from the Ice Age just being common household pets. Like fucking, you have Smilodons the size of like bobcats, and they're just your domestic house cats. Or you have direwolves the size of Great Danes, yeah, they're just your everyday dog.
That's fine.
Yeah.
That's why I did it.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Also, whenever you see the Sabretooth and it gets mad, will it play like a little Skyrim battle music? Do you ever think of that? You just hear the first notes appear and you run away fast.
Never should have come here.
Oh, no, slow down. Come here.
Oh, man, I'll be real. That's kind of thought.
Should be of home.
Exactly. I thought God, I can't lead up into this without asking the question, so forgive me for this. So when Basil does what he does at the very end there, I was expecting the Cybertooth to come out and just get him and just like drag him away somewhere. I know that's terrible of me to say, but
he points the gun and Cybertooth just flies in from the side and knocks him off.
yeah,
Pulls him off like off the stage.
Rope. He's got a steel chair.
I would have been like amazed if somehow the Sabretooth got loose and Trent just didn't know where it was and it just tackled Basil and just like got him by the neck and then just kind of dragged him away somewhere.
Fucking like Far Cry 5 with the Puma companion.
Like, I know that's a little bit silly, but I was like, oh my god, if he did it like that, I would lose it in a good way. I'd be like having fun with that. But no, I'm very happy with how you wrote that with Ripley, because I didn't think anything was really going to happen with Ripley. I thought he would just be a broken man that just came out of a prison as a, his snout all bent and looking out of shape. And what you did at the end, though, I thought was very cool, because now you have this family that's kind of somewhat ostracized, because the Kazalas basically are like, no, that's a murderer. We'll accept her as your wife, but we won't really engage too much with that beyond that. And then you have Ripley, who's also kind of like socially isolated too, who just is like, hey, do you mind if I just come visit you guys? And after he did what he did, they're like, okay, you're cool. Get in here. You're family now.
You can try again.
I mean, you would do that after someone saved your life.
Oh, absolutely. If somebody stopped me getting shot, if somebody got me to an ambulance if I got shot like 5 times, yeah, I'd be like, all right, you are one of the good ones. But man, I was not ready for that climax. That was a really good one. I was kind of interested in how Basil was like processing everything that was happening in front of him, even though he's the one with the gun and kind of fuck him. But at the same time, I want to get his perspective on like, oh, is this finally his revenge moment? Oh, you finally get to see like someone rebuilding their life and getting things on track, and you just want to sabotage that because you're like, you did to me what you did to Leo. I get revenge now. That kind of thing. It was good. I liked that. That was very, very good.
Yes, I wanted to do that from the very beginning, but in the beginning, when not in the beginning, when Anon was leaving the hospital, when I was writing that, I thought that maybe I could do some with Anon's father, something like have him shoot Anon for being a race traitor or something, but it was so fucking stupid that I discarded this idea, but I kept the getting shot at the end idea. So that's how I also came up with the idea of 2 sages, like Basil and Rosemary. So Rosemary would be the broken one, the sad one, and Basil would be the angry one who wants revenge because Fang killed his boyfriend.
Exactly.
Imagine getting shot by your own father for being a race traitor. That would kind of suck.
That would be... I mean, I couldn't understand it or be like, yeah, I could vibe with this. I'd be like, man, there is so much to unbox here that I would sit that person down and I'd want to listen to a 3-hour conversation of them being like, okay, what is the point of the race trader thing, though? I would love to hear that broken down to its very core of like, okay, so it's a deal breaker if you just date a dino. That's it. It's a complete deal breaker. It's not like I
the streets, you're dead to me, boy.
yeah, exactly. It's like
Literally,
Will make you actually dead while I'm at it.
sovereign
crazy.
justice.
Sovereign justice, exactly. I'm sorry, but my Nord son will not marry an elf. Can't have that. No, not in this house.
What about a
Fact that I'm
Khajiit?
married to an Argonian.
Listen, the Khajiit are basically just a fancy term for elf. I'm sorry, but it's got to be with another Nord.
Wasn't there a tomb in Skyrim where there was a poem about a Khajiit who was married to a Nord?
Yeah, there probably was. I was just joking about Anon's dad, basically trying to break it down to his son, trying to be like, well, you can't interact with the dinos. We hate the dinos here. You gotta come back to where we are and become our leader of our group. Which actually, that does remind me. So Karma, what kind of group did Anon's dad run? Was it like a KKK
Like,
group?
like a mm, generic race supremacist.
Okay.
There's not,
So,
no, I think I compared it to KKK mixed with some Irish white supremacist group, I think. Like Irish Americans. The Let me find it. It's on Wikipedia somewhere.
yeah.
Why is taking a second to find that?
Something with Aryans, but I don't remember.
Are you talking about the Aryan Brotherhood?
Maybe they had a four-leaf clover in their symbol. It was more of a prison gang than white supremacist group.
Yeah. Yeah, that's who you're talking about. Uh, I'm not going to. I'm not going to get into specifics on it. The people who know about that topic. I'm not equipped to broach what they're about.
Gotcha. Yeah, I. But anyways, yeah, I found it interesting that Anon's dad looked at Anon and said, "Hey, you're gonna fall in line with me, but also I'm gonna try and like introduce you to my group of friends and see if I can kind of get you a career in that field, to say the least."
Yeah.
I thought that was very interesting because I don't see a lot of people do that where they're like, "Yeah, I'll introduce you to some friends and see if we can prop you up in that way." Yeah.
Hey, son, do you want to talk to Joe Rogan?
Yeah, exactly. Hey, son, you want to come on this podcast? It's gonna be real fun.
It's gonna be great. I swear, you'll love it. You'll love it. There's gonna be no awkward silences.
Exactly.
No, that never happens in a conversation.
No, never.
No, that always comes with the start when you haven't spoken to somebody. Like really talk to them beforehand. You'll always get those awkward silences where you're trying to figure out, hey, what's a good like from a comedic standpoint? What will they like? What will they dislike? Is there any like language I should avoid? It's always that's always how it starts when I don't have when I personally don't have as much interaction with somebody beforehand.
Gotcha.
So it takes a while for me to learn how you want to be spoken to, because everybody's a little bit different in that regard.
Yeah, absolutely. But the important thing is just to have fun with it.
Yeah, this is at the end of the day supposed to be a fun thing for those involved.
Totally. I just like the work so far, and I read it all, and I'm just like, man, this is a cool way to do this. And hey, you believe in second chances, bud? All right, fuck it, we ball. But there is a lot of work that has to be put into that second chance. It's not to just give the second chance to the person. It is to say, hey, you haven't done anything terrible lately, so let's let's work on just talking with each other through text and maybe sharing a little bit of info with each other. And if we're both just finally have that conversation with each other, then let's try again. That does remind me, though, Karma. I saw that Nick was basically put in the army in this one. What was your original idea with her and how you wanted to do Nick in the army?
Originally, I didn't even plan to have Nick appear at all, but wait, let me just pull up an image that inspired me for it.
Certainly.
Yeah, once you have that image, if you want to share it, I can throw it on the screen if you want it.
I saw that on the bureau, and I thought, people kept saying that I should put Nick in the FD, so here it is.
Yep. Give me a second to throw that up. A large image. Very nice looking, I think, though. I think you do gain from putting Nick in, at least a little bit.
Yeah, because I see how Nick has the kid, Jack, I think his name was, and Amber gets to now interact with another kid, so she kind of gets to have more social connections, essentially.
Yeah.
Even if they're not the best, but I like that Nick kind of lays into Anon like, heard something's going on. My kid, your kid punched my kid. You need to go and solve this. And Anon's just like, the shit? What happened? And Nick doesn't explain anything. She's just like, we'll figure it out or something. Just go talk to your kid. Yeah.
It's all kid stuff. It's just what kids do.
Exactly. Just
very small things.
You think it's just kid stuff? He said something mean to her, and he said, "Your father is a Nick."
Yeah, exactly. Your father is a. And then immediately, Amber's like, "Oh, you don't say that about my papa like that." But yeah, you're right, Karma. It was very much like, yeah, it's one of those problems.
Yeah, to me that seemed like a sticks and stones thing with Jack.
Yes. Oh yeah. I still find it interesting though, because it's like, yeah, kids are gonna be kids. They're gonna say some things they shouldn't say, and then they'll learn their lesson if they go too far with it.
Yeah, somebody's gonna come in and say, you can't be doing that.
Yeah, if it's got to be a parent, okay. If the kid's gonna throw hands because they said something real bad, yeah, that just happens. So you just step in and say, hey, don't throw hands. Use your words, even if they're not nice words. But no, I thought Nick in the army was pretty interesting. I thought that she has a kid, and now you got more background there of like, okay, cool. No, that's pretty solid because it shows me that Volcadera is kind of like filled with people inside of it that interact with each other, and so when you add like that kind of piece to it, it kind of grows a little bit more because of that.
I mean, it's a big city, so there are a lot of people in there. Not only the main characters of the game, but also other people with their own lives and stuff.
Yeah.
Everybody
It's just good to.
something going on.
It's just good to see those like how those people interact with each other in different areas, though. That's cool.
I'm glad that you liked it.
Yeah. Uh, by the way, when it came to Anon getting his training, use it on the ship. Was there anything you wanted to change about that, or did you like the training montage of, okay, we gotta do training. There's a fire. Get on the giant equipment that makes you heavy, and you gotta run around for 10 hours.
That's something another person told me about. That's what they do in the army, actually in the navy.
Navy, yeah.
So I just imagined how it would go based on their description, and they just helped me polish it. So I didn't really know what to write at the beginning, and as they told me, I knew better. I had a clear picture. I really didn't want to change anything about it because I don't know anything about it. So if I tried, I would fail miserably and make myself look like a dumbass.
Man, I definitely know what you mean there, but I loved it regardless of the training montage that we got to saw with the Navy. Just because, yeah, what if there's an injured person? How would you get the stretcher out to get him on that and then navigate this small ship? Stuff like that. No, it really added to it. Um, I do gotta ask though, what was your original idea with Reed when it came to like getting that essentially Reed as a character when it was more of, oh crap, Anon overdosed, I gotta help my bro out because he was there for me. Did you originally want Reed to kind of be Anon's bro after the events, or did you kind of want him to like have Anon um, stumble upon him one day, and rather than kind of like, talking to each other like they did in the story, kind of like they just like, oh, you're still around. Oh, that's crazy. Okay, like what was kind of the original idea there?
The original idea is what I went with.
Oh, cool. All right, that's good. I like it. Just Anon gets to kind of open up to Reed, and Reed just kind of opens up to him, and they just kind of build off of that.
A real bromance.
It really is genuinely a good bromance. And they came out a lot better for it, too. Even Reed's father told him, hey, man, you really helped out my son. If you need a favor or you need help with something, just ask. So the family was very appreciative of Anon stepping in because of that. Reed was using a lot less drugs and was becoming more cleaner out of it.
Mm.
Yeah. No, it was good. I liked it. Other than that, so when it came to the Kinzala family and kind of like the brothers, the smaller, the younger guys, what was your thoughts there? Did you even want to have like little brothers, essentially? Like one's a good at with cars, the other one is good with cussing and swearing all the time in Spanish. Kind of what was your ideas there?
I kind of wanted to have the younger one be kind of like Nasser, to remind Anon of Nasser, kind of, because, Nasser is younger than everyone else in the game. So Anon would have that connection to him, kind of.
Oh, I
But
see.
but I don't think I relate that in the text well enough.
No, I didn't see that. Instead, what I saw is kind of like a younger brother who, he didn't like the chores that he had to deal with every day, but like, he also is kind of just like, well, I don't hate the people around me. I just get annoyed with them, and I kind of throw a little bit of banter their way. But I still like that he would talk with Anon over time after he got to know him and be like, oh, God, you're going to try and hook up with this person? Ew, God, you're a shitty person for that. And even the mother had to step in and be like, hey, you got to go apologize to your big brother about that, because he's trying. He's really doing what he can to make this situation less horrible, but he's genuinely trying. And even the little brother's like, okay, fine. And over time, from that point on, even though he got a little bit skeezed out by what Anon was trying to do with getting with Fang, he learned to grow with Anon and basically said, "Hey, this is the rest of the family. Here's the extended family." So I really do like it because it was a good way to kind of explain more about what the family dynamic is on the farm as well as the extended family.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, nah, I didn't get like little Nazar off of him. I just saw him as like, oh, he's kind of a troublemaker, but in a good way.
Maybe I should rewrite him to be more like Nasser.
Yeah, maybe. Just have him.
I like the little detail where Amber learns her first word from him. Just
Yeah.
He swears way too much. That's
Yeah,
a realistic
exactly.
thing. Children learn to say exactly what you don't want them to say.
Yeah, I thought it would make for a great comedic moment.
It did. I like
You're
I like the family who's very good mannered, good natured, and very calm and collected. And then you have this little Amber baby saying the meanest word she can think of in Spanish. And they're all like, okay, who babysitted Amber the most? Moises? Was that you? And Moises like looks at the mother and grandmother like, oh, I messed up. I'm gonna get beat with a slipper.
Moses. Oh no, chocolate foo.
Yeah, there's an entire firing line of chonkas coming right at him. He cannot escape.
It's a fucking firing line out of the Civil War.
Exactly. The entire family has shown up to teach Moses not to swear in front of the baby. That also brings into something I just remembered. So Amber likes the trilobites. Where did that idea come from?
I mean, she would hang out with Trish a lot, and Trish in this story, she likes bugs a lot, and water bugs, so trilobites, so she would talk to Amber about it, and since she is so passionate about this subject, Amber would become interested in it too, and over time the interest would grow.
Yeah, and it shows. I like it. Especially when Amber's like looking at the trilobites and is like, hey, you want to see them do tricks? And everyone's like, you can teach that to them? It's like, yeah, look, they're doing tricks in the tank. I was like, oh, that's cool. It's actually really nice.
They are smarter than they look.
They are.
Children aren't stupid, they're just small adults.
Yeah. But the trilobites, they're smarter too.
Animals do constantly surprise me, except for my cat, I guess. He's not very smart.
Yeah, sometimes they just got one-track minds is all.
Yeah. Like right now, he's wanting to get into my lap, but he just won't jump.
Pick him up.
One arm. Yeah, there we go. I got him. I grabbed him. He's just a sweet little guy. Good feller, you know?
Exactly. Now he's gonna go on your chair and escape.
Mm-hmm. Now he'll be here until he decides that he just wants to be across the room, in which case he will kick off of me and go flying.
As how cats usually work.
The calculations that he has to do, I'm surprised by sometimes. And there he goes.
Yeah.
Oh, and now he wants back in. Because he is needy.
Yeah. That's funny.
That happens.
Yeah, that does happen. Let's see here. So with Mr. Gonzala and him kind of figuring out who Anon was back at the hospital mental ward, Um, I saw that there was a rewrite of that too, where I think he punched Anon's dad at some point, but now it's more of like he didn't do that. He just basically was disgusted with Anon's dad's speech. Was there any original ideas there that you wanted to like do that scene a little bit differently?
No, I just thought this. I winged it, this scene.
Okay.
But I will be rewriting this part of the story too, and I will try to. I will incorporate Rosa's dad time as a marine, his time in the army into the story. He will be the one to recognize what is going on with Anan, his PTSD, because he had seen it in his buddies from the army. So he won't be taken to the doctor to say, "Oh, you have PTSD." No, he will be like, "Oh shit, I saw that. I know what it is," and he will take him to the doctor.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. So he's kind of had a history with other people in his family having it. So he's like, I should go get that
No.
checked out.
He was in the army. Remember, when Anon told them that he enlisted in the
Oh,
chapter, he told
yeah.
that I was in Afghanistan and he will be sitting on a boat.
Yeah, I remember now.
And that's why the whole family was like,
They're more
no,
okay
don't
with
go.
the Navy than just the army.
Don't go to the army because he was in the army and we know how it affects people.
Oh, yeah.
You're not built
Yeah,
for the army.
exactly. It's like, listen, Anon, you're already having a hard time. If you go into the army, you're going to have a way harder time. That does make sense. That does add up.
Infantry does things to a man's mind.
Yeah. Like, you can only, like, you can only tell someone to do something so many times before they just kind of break down over time. They're like, I don't know if it's all fit for me. But yeah, no, I could see that being a good way to kind of, like, explain Mr. Gonzala and be like, yeah, he has history in the army, and this is what happened, and he's learned his lessons from that. He took away some stuff from that, where it's like, don't go and just join it, because you're gonna come out a rougher guy than he came back from it.
Yes, that's the idea.
Good.
Because it kind of comes out of nowhere. This him mentioning that he was in the army and there was no mention of it in the story earlier. So I want to address that in the rewrite I will be doing.
I think that's good, because as I was reading it, I wasn't seeing any real mention of the army besides the family saying, don't go in the army. We will actually be very mad at you if you go in the army, to Anon. But not like because Mr. Gonzala was like, yeah, it was because of my experiences and telling it to the family. So I think that's good that you'll add that in there.
Yes, that's what happens when you don't plan ahead.
Yeah, it does, but you know, it's still beautiful none the same. The message got across to the person, to the reader. So I do gotta ask about Mrs. Gonzala, the wife. Kind of what was she was very much a big figurehead in how Anon would kind of deal with his self doubt, and you know she was there to comfort him, but at the same time she didn't quite understand why he would go with Fang. She's kind of telling him like, listen, you don't really have to go with Fang. You could literally just choose anyone else without such a horrible history. So she's kind of trying to be like, I don't see that angle from it, but I'll support you. with what you do in life. Either way, was there any other way you wanted to write that where it was like a little bit different from that, like the original idea of that?
Actually, yes.
Okay.
I wanted to initially I wanted to write it like after the trial, Anon would think that maybe Fang isn't such a good person, isn't such a good choice for a partner, so he would try dating other people, but in the end he would realize that Fang is the only person he truly loves and can be with. But I changed it because it would just feel like a filler, I think.
Yeah, it would kind of dilute the point you want to get across.
I kind of wanted to also put in a plot point where Trish would start developing feelings for Anon, but he would not reciprocate them, and at one point she would admit that she has feelings for him, but he would be like, no, I don't feel like that way, and they would be really awkward for a time.
It's just something
Yeah.
he would feel isn't right.
No, he would just don't feel that it wouldn't be like that he would think, oh, it's wrong because I love Fang. No, it would be she would start developing feelings for him, but he would not feel like he would not feel the same way about her at all. So it would turn out to be very awkward. He would not return her feelings. Simply would.
Yeah. No, that is interesting because she's like, yeah, well, I know a bit about you, and over the time we've texted each other, I kind of think there might be something more there. Where Anon's just like, I'm not really looking for that. I only truly love this person. So I'm not gonna kind of go into this deep end of the pool, so to speak, and try to do it this way.
Yes, that was my intention, but I decided against it because again it would be kind of a filler and would add unnecessary drama and would kind of make the fic like a soap opera, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
It was fine. It was fine as it was.
Fine as you wanted it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially writing, you choose to make things how you are happy with them before anybody else.
Yes.
Yeah, and I thought that's a good idea, honestly. Like, yeah, you could have Trish admit those feelings, but Anon's not gonna reciprocate it. He's gonna be like, I'm not looking for that in life. I'm just trying to essentially get with the person I really love. But that brings up another point. So when Fang is still like being under watch and she has his meetings with Anon, I really like how those interactions play out, especially the very first time Anon gets to see Fang while in Underwatch. But is there any other way you wanted to do that scene where she's more mean about it as these kind of like these meetings progress, or do you think like when she was mean to Anon and trying to drive home, hey, I might not love you. What do you think about that? Like for the first meeting, and then as it came.
You mean in the hospital or in the prison?
In the prison, I want to say.
In the prison, she was happy to see him.
Yeah, she was.
I think you mean after the trial.
Yeah, I mean in the hospital. I'm sorry.
That was my intention from the beginning. I reused some of the prison visit scene from the one shot to write that first in the first meeting. So because she would be thinking clearly for the first time since the trial, since she learned that Nasser is dead, and she would feel a lot of resentment towards Anon for keeping it from her. So she would vent that frustration at him, and he would feel lost because he suffered so much for her. He uh, stood up for her when other people called her a monster and so on. And he would feel lost, hurt.
Yeah.
That was my intention, to leave him shaken up by it and be filled with doubts. And on the subsequent meetings, they would slowly work it out, like you saw with the. I think it was the second meeting where he told her that she hurt him, and she has this sudden realization about it, and he like runs out, goes to cry in the forest. I think it was the second meeting. I'm not sure.
Yeah, around the second or third meeting, because what was happening is Anon was smoking like a factory, yeah, during this whole time. He was taking packs of cigarettes and going through them, and even Lucy said, "Hey, you gonna smoke around like that around our kid?" And, Anon's like, "Oh, you got a really good point. I better stop doing that." But also the stress of it all, of like seeing Fang again and Lucy again, and having to talk to her about all this stuff.
And the idea about her being mean was that she was doing the same thing to him that she was doing to her brother, trying to push him away to make him hate her.
Yes, exactly. And that was her looking at this whole situation and being like, Anon kind of deserves a bit better than what he's doing with me. So if I push him away, maybe he'll have a better life without me.
Yes, that was the idea.
Yeah. Which I loved that she explained that the second time around, where she's like, "Of course I fucking love you, dude, but I can't really. I want you to have a better life, one where I'm not in the picture, and you have to now like accommodate me for all of the horrible stuff I did." I thought that was a very beautiful thing.
He
Well,
wants better for her and she wants better for him, but the way they go about it is not compatible, at
e-
least in the beginning.
exactly. It wouldn't really, even though they want to well, she wanted to cut ties with Anon, but kind of be like, but I love him. I love him a lot, and he's been with me through thick and thin. So I don't. They don't quite understand quite how to go from there and just kind of make something new. Um, oh, that also brings up a good point. So you remember Doc Mitchell, the doctor overseeing Fang in the hospital?
Yes.
Was that literally Dr. Mitchell from Fallout New Vegas?
Yes.
Thank you. I appreciate that a ton. That's my favorite game. So I'm super happy to hear Doc Mitchell shows up and he's like, "All right, well, it looks like those bullets." Oh my god.
Bullet removal and retrieval is his specialty.
Well, he's at the bed. He's at the hospital helping out Fang with her issues. I kind of wish he came in and showed a bunch of like ink blots to Fang and been like, "What does this remind you of?"
What is
Like he
this?
does. Yeah, he does the
Correct
goat
answer,
test
by the
on
way.
Fang, or
The
the
correct
Viga
answer
Maker.
is always two bears high-fiving.
Exactly. Two bears high fiving is always the correct answer.
You
But
know
no.
shock test?
Yeah. Yeah, the Rio shock test.
So, sometimes I look at the ink blots just for fun, just to see what I see them. No one ever examines me, but Maybe I should have somebody who knows what they're doing examine that, what I think things are. Be interesting, at least.
Yeah. No, I really much am happy to hear that Doc Mitchell shows up to just take care of Fang. That I wish there was like a Vigo maker in the corner of the room that Fang could hold on to. I'm sorry, Karma, I had to do it, but she had to get her stats all realigned. But anyways,
The game was rigged from the start.
exactly, the game was rigged from the start. But you know what? They certainly, even with a bad hand, they made good on it.
Hand.
They did. Oh man. But let's see what else we got.
Having Stella's mom be the prison guard, I enjoyed.
Oh my
having
goodness.
that touch up on it.
Yeah, so originally, Karma, was that kind of the idea of have Stella's mom be involved in the prison in any way, or was there like other ways you wanted to do that?
The idea that Stella was the one on who Fang spent her last bullet on was tied to her mother from the beginning. Like she would hold a lot of resentment for Fang to even pointing a gun at her daughter, and that's where her treatment at the prison came from. That was my intention from the beginning, to have Stella's mom as a prison guard.
Nice, and I do like it a lot because it adds more personability with the situation that was unfolding. Because now Stella, she basically wanted. She was suffering in her own way, seeing that one of her friends pointed a gun at her and almost killed her. But luckily, that didn't happen. So now she's just kind of like, she harbors feelings for Fang that's like, this is not a friend anymore. This is a person that tried to kill me. I need to distance myself away from this situation and just kind of figure out where to go from here. And I find that beautiful, but with Stella's mom being in the picture of like, oh, she did that to my baby? Oh my god, I am gonna teach her a lesson she'll never forget. That honestly adds a very interesting dynamic now. Of like, you have one person that wants to just get away from this and kind of isolate. You got another person that's like, I'm gonna get some revenge on this person.
Get in line.
Yeah, get in line.
There's quite a few people ahead of you.
You're not the only one that wants to give her a piece of her mind or a fist. That
Take a number.
Oh gosh. Yeah, take a number. So when Fang is in prison and she's basically getting picked on or targeted, what was your original ideas on that? Did you want it to go super far? Did you kind of want to be like, yeah, she gets targeted, but nothing serious came out of it? Or like, where did you kind of want to draw the line?
The original idea, the one where Fang ends up in prison, would be that Stella's mom would still be a guard at the prison where Fang would be sent to. And over those 15 years, they would kind of bond over the fact that Stella's mom's man left her when she was pregnant with a child, and Fang would be pregnant by the time she goes to prison. So Stella's mom would see this, and despite what Fang wanted to do to Stella, she would feel kind of a connection with her, right?
Yeah.
And I wanted to write a fic, like a companion piece for the main story that would focus on the time Fang spent in prison, 15 chapters, and I wanted each chapter to be like 30,000 words long.
Right.
And like it would be one chapter for each year, so 15 chapters, symbolism and all that. So Yeah, so she would kind of bond with Fang. She would, after Ripley finds out that Anon is writing letters to Fang, he would somehow have them confiscated, and instead of sending those letters to Fang, he would send them to Stella's mom, and she would read those letters, she would memorize them, and repeat them to Fang. Like she would feel such a connection to her because of similar situation between those two.
Yeah.
And as Fang would be released from prison, she would say that this Anon is a good man, don't ever let him slip away from you, or something like that.
Ooh, I like that. That's cool. That's kind of like, hey, listen, this is like the one social connection in your life that hasn't like turned sour or gone belly up. He's a good kid. He's not in a super horrible place, so just try to talk to him again.
Yes, that was the original idea. And I would also make it so I wanted to kind of write that Fang would have a lover in prison.
Oh, kind of someone to like get through the day by day with, right?
Yes, she would find, like, it would be kind of a search for feeling something, anything, but because she would feel kind of very empty after all that happened, and after the weight of the whole situation, of the consequences, and of what she did would hit her. It will weigh down on her very much, and she would seek out someone to share this burden with.
Yeah, exactly. And just so
and
happens.
I had this idea that this lover would die during a prison riot, and Fang would kill the person who killed her lover.
Oh shit.
Yeah, and thanks to Ripley's connections, her sentence wouldn't get extended because he's like, I imagined him as this powerful guy with powerful connections, and so
I get you. It's kind of like, yeah, in the heat of a moment, her lover died, and now she just focuses on getting even. Just basically, no, I'm an eye for an eye. But the problem is, if you do that in prison, it would extend it out the sentence. But it's like, well, maybe Lucy's got someone looking out for her, so the sentence doesn't get extended. But now there's more eyes on her than there previously were before.
I also had an idea that Ripley would encourage her to become like more violent, more rough, more of a tough prison bitch, because he would see it as a way to let her survive until he finds a way to get her out of the prison. And she would later resent her for that. Like, you made me like this. I was broken, but you broke me even more.
Damn, just telling it straight out to your daughter, hey, I went to jail and had to deal with all of this just to try to get the heat off your back. I had to deal with my own problems, and now I kind of am looking at you like I'm a little bit mad. I'm a bit pissed off at you for that. That's interesting.
Yeah, so that was my original idea for the role Stella's mom would play in the story.
Quick little question on the topic of prison guards. Was Mira the inspiration for Mira in Pay It Forward? Because I read the description, they look the same.
Sorry?
Mira in Pay It Forward and None Chamber. Were they inspired by each other?
I don't know what you're talking about. Are you talking about a game or movie, a show?
Another fic.
I don't really read fics, I
Okay.
the fic would a fic has to like be very interesting. It has to, how should I put it? It has to engage me somehow. Like an idea would have to be interesting, or the characters would have to be good, or all of those.
Exactly. You would have to have a pre-established idea. But what if this was changed around? And then you'd kind of be like, well, that's actually very interesting. I want to see how that would play out.
Mm.
Yeah. I get it. Gotcha though. Let's see what else we got. So when it came to and this is about the Gonzalez farm, did you ever think like when Mr. Kazala basically is gone and out of the picture along with his wife, who would inherit the farm? Would it be Moses or like the little brothers essentially?
It will be Moses.
Okay, it would be Moses. All right, that makes sense. He's been on the farm pretty long, and at this point, he's directly related.
Responsibilities to it.
Yeah, even though Anon's like a good farmhand, like he is helping out as much as he can, but he's also got his own life with his own goals, so that's also like makes sense too. It's like like Anon doesn't want to go back to the farm where everyone's going to be like, "You dated who? You're married to who again? That person? That's odd." And he's like, "Yeah, I want to get away with that. Get away from that." Also, the fact that the farm has firearms on it, and if Lucy was even near firearms during that time, it would complicate things too much. I like that detail, by the way, Karma.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to find an excuse not to put her on the farm.
Yeah.
That's what. Yes, that's why I basically put guns in the house. So
Yeah.
the farm would be out of the question for Lucy when after she's let out from the mental hospital.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's
I
good.
have to do something to change the situation so she can live with. I remember I walked into your storyboard and somebody's like, "Well, couldn't you have a cap and ball revolver?" Which I think that disagrees to the spirit of what you want. Just an observation I had was somebody was asking about a cap and ball revolver because it's not classified in America as a true firearm anymore.
That would be a reach.
It is a reach, and it's just it doesn't fit.
Mental gymnastics.
Yeah, it
Yes.
doesn't fit with the spirit of the rules that are outlined. Just because it technically complies to the letter of the law as is written right now, doesn't mean that it's something that Anon would ever think about doing.
Exactly.
I do got a question about Stella and kind of like her whole deal. So, from what I was reading, she was mostly trying to like get away from the situation, but she also, in a sort of way, does kind of care about Fang. But even Rosa put it best. Stella's been like essentially secluded this whole time, and Anon's kind of this glue that gets Stella to kind of be able to talk about it again. And it gets to a point where Stella even asks the question, hey, why do you want to fight so hard for this person for what they did to you? They basically, they raped you. Like, why are you going this far out to help this person and even be with them? Because even she was just like, I don't understand this whatsoever. Is there any way you wanted to do that where maybe Stella wasn't yelling and shouting in his face about it, but like, did you kind of have any other ideas there?
Originally, the conversation they had, Stella and Anon, it went differently. She was much more calm, much more reasonable. I mean, she was reasonable in the final story, but she kept pushing and pushing until the breaking point came. And in the original draft, she didn't do that. But after a discussion with my beta readers, we came to a conclusion that it would be better, more dramatic to have her push him further. And have him like compare her to Naomi with her meddling and other things.
Yeah, bringing up the topic, and she doesn't outright say what she thinks about it, but she's trying to, like, with enough time, is like trying to say, "Hey, Anon, you're gonna have you're gonna get together with this person, and more importantly, I don't think that's smart. I think there's a better life for you somewhere else." I thought that's interesting, because I've seen a lot of ideas thrown around with Stella. Some saying that Stella in this fic even likes Anon, to that, like what you were mentioning it with Trish. But Anon would not feel the same, obviously. He just loves this one person who's been in his life for the longest and who's been there for him. What I'm getting at is there... Do you think Stella kind of did have a little bit of feelings for Anon in that way, or are they mostly just like, nah, they're just good friends?
They are just friends. I never had the intention of making it a romance story between them.
Okay, good. Because that's what I was reading in the writing. I was just like, yeah, Anon's the one to kind of like at least confront and talk to Stella about this, because what was going on was Stella's mom was very much like, hey, don't ever talk to that Rosa chick ever again. You should stay here in my house with me and kind of be miserable with me. Because Stella's mom...
alive.
Yes, exactly. You're safe.
If you notice, Trisha's mom acted the same way.
Yeah, she very much said to Trish, do not go outside. Do not stay after like dark or anything like that. Please come home right away. Like, yeah, I do remember that. Oh man. But yeah, no, that's good. I like that, because that builds more into their family, and like, what do you think the families would feel about Trish and all these other people that had to go through this tragedy? And it'd be like, well, the families certainly do have something to say about that, and it's stay inside your house and never go outside.
I mean, it's a knee-jerk reaction, but it's very reasonable for people to have those.
Yeah, it is. It adds that kind of like the healthy amount of like, we care about you, we're scared about you, and it also shows off their fear. Like, they're letting fear govern a lot of their decisions.
It's very realistic.
Yeah, and I really do like that, so thank you for writing that in, Karma.
Thanks.
It's not just a bunch of people being like, oh yeah, it's fine now, it's totally fine.
Yeah, exactly. It's more of like, oh, I need to keep I need to keep my eyes on you, and I need to kind of look after you a bit more.
Pay more attention to the people my child is hanging out with.
Yes, and I like that detail. By the way, I do love when after Rosa gets to talk to Stella's mom, she is ballistic. Like, she is angry beyond belief at what the mom said to her. Because basically, I noticed that Stella's mom sounds a little bit like Anon's dad in some way. There's a little bit of a parallel there, where they're just like, you fucking Rexosaurus Bainer, get out of here. Like, you know, they go full on, like, they don't hold back their punches. They're just like, no, you get away. Was that intentional with Stella's mom, or, like, did you want to do it a little bit differently than that?
That was intentional.
Okay, I like it either way. Like, I think it's very fun to have Stella's mom just straight up reject and then insult Rosa on the spot for even coming out to like try and make contact with Stella. That was a cool moment. Even love it more when Anon kind of is in the car with Rosa and he's like, "Hey, so what went down?" And Rosa just kind of opens up to Anon about that. Like, I'm so fucking angry about this, but at the same time, she can't really force her way in the house and just talk to Stella, who's all cooped up, you know?
Who is now all alone in the world with only
Yeah,
No,
exactly.
no. If
What's
you
up?
remember, at that point, Stella had moved out from her mom's house.
Oh,
She
you're
lived
right.
with she lived with her boyfriend.
Just Chad Shark.
Yeah, it's just literally Chet. Oh
Mr.
man,
Douchebag.
it is exactly. Um, man, I remember now. Thank you for that, Karma. I do apologize.
Boyfriend.
Yeah, I do gotta ask though. When so the idea of Chet, is there any other ideas you had about Chet? Like maybe he would kind of be like a one-off thing and kind of disappear and fizzle out, or did you from the beginning want him to be that abusive boyfriend that sticks around?
That was kind of the idea from the beginning, but the abuse didn't start until Stella moved out of her mom's house, when Chet had, let's say, a complete control over Stella's life.
That's true. What I found so odd about it was Chet wanted to keep this persona going of like being a douche who was a chick magnet, and now that he has like someone that kind of is anchoring to him, he is like, oh, I don't really want this out of the relationship, but I want other things out of this relationship. And that was pretty crazy. Like that would overall was like, wow, holy shit. Okay. So that's how
Like,
it is.
I imagine that if he didn't grow as a character like he does in the better endings of the game, he
Yeah.
would become this piece of shit guy who would be like abusive to his girlfriend and would be an asshole overall.
Yeah. No, and I think it shows I think None in the Chamber is honestly better for it because it kind of displays like hey, this person really never went anywhere, just kind of stayed in one spot forever and kind of is just dilapidating.
He peaked in high school.
He did. He totally peaked in high school, and now he's pissed off. He can't like get any dates, and like he's tried to.
Can't go any further.
Yeah, he really can't. And now he's like tried to like
And then he cut
hit on other
communication off
people.
between his girlfriend and her friends.
Yeah, and I just think that's like interesting because now his persona of looking like this healthy.
Being Mr. Douchebag.
Yeah, he can't.
My favorite Martian video.
Yeah. Now he can't be Mr. Douchebag all the time because the persona's not working, and now he's got a girlfriend who's kind of like ruining that persona for him, so he just like gets spiteful about it. I think that's honestly interesting to think about and to like detail and to like lay it out.
Yeah.
Oh man, but that actually goes into another thing I wanted to ask. So when the Kazalas, basically what happened is when Stella got onto the farm and was being taken care of by Rose and the family, and somebody, Chet, came to show back up to get her back. Like, was there a different way you wanted to do that? Like, what did you want, like a shooting to happen there, and kind of like they got away, no one was hurt, but like shots were fired, or did you want to just do it the way it was originally written? Like, is there any other way you would have done that scene?
I wanted Rosa to kick his ass. Revenge for her friend.
Awesome, love it. I 100% love it because when I saw Rosa just decked him and he is laid out across the car, Karma, I laughed so hard after that. I was cracking up. Like, yeah, it is, but it's a good use of it. Like, even though Chet is like focused on like his image, he just gets laid out by one punch, and Anon is like, okay, well that happened, but I loved when the Kazalas both come out and say, okay, we were asleep for a little bit of this. Anon, you should have came to us immediately and woken us up. And that's because we didn't know if this person had a gun on them. So if you went out there with both Rosa and yourself to go confront this person and they had a gun, that would have ended way differently. So I like that portion of it too, where even the father and the mother are trying to explain to Anon, that was very reckless of you to do by yourself. Don't do that next time.
Yeah, I had to explain why they would have a gun in the house.
Yes.
I mean, it's just a farmer thing in the United States.
Yeah,
All
it is.
farmers have firearms.
Yeah, there could be trespassers and people that you don't know what their intentions are, and if they're on your
Especially
property
if
at
you
night.
have livestock or equestrians.
I mean, that is more like Wild West thing.
That is not. That is true to this day. People still
Yeah.
ride horses.
Really?
Yeah,
you
it
you
still
still
happens.
need firearms to defend from coyotes,
Coyotes.
because coyotes will
or,
go after horses.
Hawks. It's all sorts of things.
Yeah.
It's still like you still need a firearm on a farm.
I see.
But yeah, no, I loved it all the same. I'm glad Chet managed to get knocked out. Rosa was able to handle the situation pretty well, and Anon was, I think he just had a bat, and that's all he had with him at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. But yeah, I gotta say, as you could tell, I like Rosa, so I have a little bit of a bias with this kind of stuff where I'm like, oh, you know what, being on the farm and getting to meet all the family, I'm a sucker for that kind of stuff, so I like to see
Same.
it kind of, yeah, good, I'm glad to hear it. I just like seeing the family, the main family, the grandma, the mother, the father, the younger brother, and sort of the middle-aged brother with the car, and just getting to learn about them, kind of figuring out what they do on the farm. Is there, so far from what I got, they deliver produce. They are able to like grow produce, just watering trees, and they're able to like basically work on. I think there was horses there, but I can't remember the horses. Is there anything else you wanted to add to the farm? Kind of like make like what they do besides just grow avocados or anything like that? Is there anything else you wanted to do with the farm?
You know, avocados are a very lucrative business.
Yeah, I've seen there's been some trading things with avocados, and there's been some monopolies that start forming there.
You know, some Mexican cartels have switched from making drugs to growing avocados.
Exactly.
So it's a very well-paying business. But besides avocados and horses, I really didn't think about expanding the farm in any form. Because, you know, horses, you can sell horses for a pretty penny, and
Yes.
avocados are very profitable, so they can maintain their current standard of living, I think, with what they're doing at the time the story takes place.
Yeah, I'd say so. Like they're growing cash crops, and they have livestock that are doing pretty well. So at this point, they're not too concerned about maybe adding more to the farm. And so far, their clients are buying up their produce, so it's going pretty well. That does factor into something else that I know. So when it came to Mo and the introduction to all the tragic events that happened, with the original idea there, like as in, would Mo essentially just try to attack Anon straight up? Or would he kind of just try to interrogate him and figure out more of the details of what happened? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
You mean the original idea where Frank ends in prison?
Yeah.
Or
Oh, I mean, when Mo first sees Anon, riding along with
the way it went was how I originally intended it to go.
Okay, perfect. I thought it was really good. Just Mo is like, oh my god, that's the person who was at the scene.
Like Mo told him to take care of Frank, and look how he took care of her. Not very
Yeah,
well.
yeah. Look how well you took care of my goddaughter. Uh, and I loved it. Just the rage that you see on Mo's face, that quiet, like rage that becomes louder and louder as he tries to get closer, and Mr. Kazala has to like step in and be like, hold on, don't shred this man apart, just hold on, and they have to basically like just leave and let him cool off, kind of recollect himself. I thought that was very nice.
Yes, and later he talks to Samantha about it and finds out the whole of it. Because
Yeah,
earlier he only talks to Ripley, so he has a skewed image of the situation.
yeah, he has a very one-sided story, and so when he talks to Samantha and figures out, no, there was Anon got forced into some stuff. So he didn't really get to be like the main problem here. It was more of like what actions he took beforehand was definitely a problem, but he wasn't the one that did all this other stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah. But no, I just want to say I really like how you did Mo. I think that was a really good way of him being very mad, being confrontational about it, and then when he gets the time to recollect himself and get a little bit more on the story, he comes back and says, "Hey, Anon, I'm so sorry for how I acted before. I know I scared the living daylights out of you, but I just want to let you know you did the best with what you worked with what you had." Which also factors into another question I got. So when it comes to Samantha and how she kind of got a little bit of information to figure out like why her daughter ended up the way she did, and she immediately goes onto the Pinzala farm. Um, Man, I gotta say, when I read that, I broke up. I was like, oh my god, this. How does a screaming mother even come to, like, go after her daughter's, like, essentially what she thinks is the main problem and try to confront that? Is there any other ways you wanted to do that besides what went down in None in the Chamber?
Not really. There were some differences in the first draft, but they aren't significant enough to talk about, to mention.
Okay, fair enough, because, like, the main idea I got from that was Samantha is believing that Anon is directly responsible for what happened, and she immediately wants to go assault him. Like she wants to go and give him a piece of her mind, and it takes like at least most of the family to stop her from like getting inside the house. So like they have to sit Samantha down and explain to her, yes, he lives here. No, he's not like doing all this horrible stuff you think he is. He is just trying to get the pieces back together so he can kind of make the best decision he can when it comes to the person he loves. And Samantha was just in her own mind at that point. She was just like, but I have no daughter now. I have no son. This is tearing me up so horribly much. And when she has no outlet to like take that rage on Anon, when she's like being stopped from doing that, she just takes it out on herself inside the car. She just starts ripping her feathers off and preening. I thought that was very beautiful and very emotional on a very high level. So I appreciate that writing.
Thanks.
Yeah. But no, I think the point got across pretty clearly that Samantha was just distraught and she was just wanting to take her rage out on Anon in that moment. But because there was people that were adults, they had more sense to just tell her, no, you don't want to do that. That's really the worst way to do this. they managed to talk her down, and even Anon was so horrified to go see Samantha and just talk to her like a person that he just kind of broke down and fell on the ground, and essentially he was just having so many emotional issues that he couldn't really do it. Which I thought that was interesting. Like his brain kind of shorted out.
I
during that
mean,
interaction.
you wouldn't know what to do if you saw a situation like this. I
Yeah,
think.
I agree. I really wouldn't know what to do. Especially, it seems Samantha didn't know what she would do if she confronted Anon about it, but she's just being blocked by the Kazalas, so she can't really do much. Um, which honestly, I do got to ask, with Samantha kind of realizing the full picture of what Fang did, and kind of like what, like at least after the trial, kind of like what they took away from that. When it came to Samantha in her house, just trying to like get rid of all the old stuff and just have the house kind of filled with trash because she's kind of been just not cooking. She's been just eating takeout and not taking care of herself that well. Um, is there more that you wanted to like details that you wanted to put in there, kind of like go into more details about that, or was that good enough? That was kind of like
Uh, that was about as I wanted it to go. I kind of based this part on my own experiences. At one point, I was at a very low point. I kind of went on autopilot and didn't really take care of myself and my surroundings. So I can remember being at such a low point. So I wanted to maybe relay that in a pretty graphic way to drive it home, just how low she fell and how much it all messed her up, this whole situation.
yeah. And as I was reading it, I could see it detail by detail. And I'll tell it to you this way: I loved and was saddened to see it at the same time. I was sad to be like, oh, this is how it's going, and this is how she's kind of trying to get through the day by day. Because forget about future plans at this point. This is more of like just waking up to go to the next day and following the same routine and trying to go from there. I loved it, and I was both saddened by it. But you know what didn't make me sad? Or, well, it did make me sad, but in a good way. Anon and Rosa coming to her house and just checking up on her, and her kind of opening up a little bit more just to be like, oh, yeah, my car's been really bad of lately. Its engine just sounds horrible. And Anon's like, yeah, well, I'll go check that out and see what's up with that. And once he gets that running, because the older brother was able to teach Anon how to do maintenance on cars, just the fact that Anon got it working again, and then comes back and says, all right, you're all good, Samantha. Anything else you need help with? While Rose is taking all the trash out. She's like, you know what? I think I trust you enough to let you know like what's going on. I believe she says, "Hey, don't go into Nazer's room," or was it Lucy's room?
It was
Is it
for the
okay? It was Nazer's room. Okay, but she was like willing to let Anon in and be like, "Hey, I appreciate everything you've done for me, and I appreciate you coming back to check up on me, and now you've helped me with the car, and now you've given me advice on where to potentially get another job from." Uh, I want to say that that was an amazing moment. I really loved that part a lot. And seeing Samantha just basically crying, saying to Anon, hey, you're not as bad as Ripley made you out to be. You're really not like that in that way. And I thought that was amazing. So thank you for that, Karma.
Yes, I really like how that part of the story had turned out.
Yeah, I mean, I had to sit down for a little while and basically just be like, okay, that was downright sad, but in a very happy way. Sort of like if Samantha can kind of not bury the hatchet per se, but look at Anon and be like, you're honestly a good kid. Like, I don't know what Ripley saw in you, but it's clearly not what I see in you. I think from now on we should kind of have these things more in our lives and kind of make those connections again. I really love that. I think that was a beautiful moment, and Rosa was there to kind of just help out, and she also drove it home too. Uh, that they'll be seeing more of each other in the future, and I really love that. But is there any thing you wanted to add on to that too, besides just fixing the car and getting the house cleaned up and getting the job?
You mean like the whole process in the story, or like comment on what you just said?
Oh, more as in the process of the story.
No, I think what's in the story is enough to convey the message.
Okay, excellent. It did, yeah, it certainly did. It got the point across.
So, do you have any more questions?
I will go and read the epilogues a little bit later because I've wanted to catch up on those, but nothing is coming to mind right now because we've shown Trish, we've gone into Stella, we've gone into Stella's mom. There's only really Rosemary and Basil, and I mean we kind of know what their whole deal is, so I'm just kind of thinking of anything else, but nothing's coming to mind right now.
Oats, do you have any questions?
I don't have anything extra to add. I think Jack hit all the points I was going to get around to. Sierra, you?
Bij?
The only character I can think of that we could touch on was your process in creating the good Dr. Jones.
Care to elaborate?
Well, your thought process on when you were creating him as a character and your influences from creating said character and the direction you took the character in the story.
Well, I kind of based him over one character from Grey's Anatomy. That show about doctors.
I may know who
But
you're
other...
talking
Hmm?
about. I don't remember his name. I think I know who you're talking about. Is one of the...
Evan Jones. Trish's dad? Oh, you mean the guy from
Yeah,
the
guy
Grey's
from the
Anatomy?
show. Yeah.
I kind of forgot what his name was. But yes, I also kind of based him on Wilson from Doctor House, the black guy.
I do know
Yeah.
that guy. Wilson's great.
This vexes me guy.
No, that's
Yes.
Foreman. Foreman's the This Vexes Me. Wilson.
Yes, Wilson and Foreman. Yes. I very much wanted him to say that this vexes me, but I just couldn't find the right place for it.
I think I would have actually burst out laughing while I was reading that. And one of the calls I was reading it in. I don't.
Annan. Oh, Annan, you overdosed. That vexes me.
What? Reed giving him drug advice, being like, "Hey, you got to make sure you have a stabilizer with you."
Okay, guys, if you don't have any more questions, I think I will be going.
It was a pleasure to have you.
Thanks.
Yeah, by the way, before you head out, Karma, I just wanted to say thank you for taking the time, especially the years, to make that fic. I know at some point it might have been felt burnt out, but I very much loved what I got to read and get to see like Rose's huge family and just Anon going through some self doubt, but having really strong supporting characters to help him stabilize just enough to be able to accomplish his goals.
I think it still is the longest Snoot game fic on AO3.
No, no,
I
no, no,
know.
no.
It isn't?
No,
There is a
Keep your
Spanish.
shit out of it among the dinos. Tops
Yeah.
that.
No, no, no. There is a Spanish fic that is longer, but it's a Kummer fic.
yeah, it's the sex game I think it was called or
It's
something
not
like
sex
that.
game or something.
There you go.
I don't count the Spanish community. I only count the English community when it comes to chapter count. Which at this point, keep your snoot out of it. It's second longest, and currently the longest one going right now is Among the Dinos at around 60 chapters.
Dang. Is that a word
Yeah.
count or just chapter?
I don't know the word count, but I believe it's fucking massive.
Among
Among the
Among Us?
Dinos.
Among Us.
Among Us.
Among sus?
Sus? Imposter?
Among Us sus imposter?
Yes.
I guess we're gonna end this, but
Alrighty.
it's been a pleasure having you out.
Yeah, it's been great.
I know we had.
It's been nice.
Uh,
It's been nice talking to you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Same.
pleasure having you, man.
Maybe we'll have you in. Maybe we'll talk to you more in the future. Just chill out, you know.
Exactly.
But I appreciate you taking the time. I know with us having such different time zones, it's a little difficult to coordinate, but I do appreciate it.
No problem.
Yeah.
I hope you have a wonderful evening for you, I suppose.
Yeah.
Go have fun. Enjoy your family, however you like to unwind. But I'm just gonna have to call it and say, see you, Space Cowboy.
Bye-bye.
Have a good one, Karma.